Anyway, good to see you.
And
This
Sorry,
you.
I had a head start. I was on for 20 minutes and I couldn't find it. Then I looked in the spam section and it said, if it's not spam. Anyway, here we go.
I was vaccinated today at 2:30 p.m. for the fourth time.
Nice. I'll hold the computer up so I can, if I see my head, I'll know I'm cool.
Yeah.
oh yeah,
Let's do it. How are you now? Yeah, you had a good time. I know you've been busy.
Yeah, but today I got the second booster vaccination, so I'm a little bit feverish.
That's what I have to do.
Yeah,
now I'm scheduled for tomorrow.
yeah. I did it in Food Town.
But Ned, just a quick question. Do you have to make an appointment at your drugstore, or you could just go,
I made an appointment. Yes.
or you have to go online and do it that way? And then,
No.
There's a way to do it through your phone, but many drugstores, David, if you find out, you can call them. There might be 1 hour where they're accepting unscheduled appointments, like walk-ins. So it might be convenient for you.
okay, I'll wait. I'll do it probably Sunday. Okay, great. Anyway, how are you guys? How are you all doing?
All right. Hanging in there. Busy keeping up with you, with your
Oh,
exploits.
I met Dick Katz in
Florida.
1955, the third week in New York, and I hope someday I could play with him. I've known him 67 years, and 3 days ago, I got a chance to go to a concert at the, and it was so much fun. He's so terrific. He's 96 years old, so he's not a teenager, but boy, can he play. Woo!
Ah,
And such a good musician, so much fun to play with.
Where did you play?
We played at the Sarasota Opera House for a
Sarasota.
big
Wow.
festival called Ear.
Wow.
And I told them about what you're doing because they do think for people's hearing to try to get them to hear again. And I told them about what you were doing with, with Parkinson's to help people out psychologically and also to let other people know, as they do, that hearing is a blessing and it's nothing to be ashamed of if you can't hear. And how you were doing that with Parkinson's and showing how ping pong can actually help people to feel good about themselves, help them physically, and show other people around the world that people that have that just shouldn't pretend that they're not there. But it's just a wonderful thing to include other people as being members of the human race. I think we have a severe problem with that in general now.
So yesterday I had the Facebook doing
Yes,
film, and this is one of the scenes.
a good thing.
You see, this is filming of the game.
They are making my screen bright.
They're doing the documentary.
And then that's involved in the documentary, David. They're making something about him.
Oh, great.
And that was a still shot, Nenad, that
It
photo?
was a still shot. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have. I'll show you. They brought great equipment. Let me just see if I can.
No, I like your haircut looks great.
Thank you.
Yeah.
After 36 years, you got a haircut. Right.
I got the haircut. Yeah.
Today, this day, you did.
David, you're a real long hair in the classical sense of the word, right? Classical musician. Your hair is nice and long, like a real long hair.
It grew out again like those plants.
I'll show you equipment they brought. Look at this. Where we play.
Wasn't that the Westchester Tennis Center?
Yeah. Look at this construction.
Also, I wrote Dr. Well, I wrote you a letter. Probably got it.
Read that email, David. Yeah, I'm hoping she stops by tonight.
And I mentioned Dr. Niddy too as someone who.
Niddy.
Because when she was 6 years old, she said, her mother said, "What would you like to do when you grow up?" She said, "I'd like to start an orphanage." Can you?
Yeah. 6 years old.
There's a heart away.
Instead of saying she wants to have a skyscraper, which I guess psychiatrists can do if they can get through all that school, and pay off their medical bills by the time they're 50, then they can spend the next 20 years cleaning up and probably buy a skyscraper. And her idea, she wants to help out people. So she's taking the Hippocratic Oath seriously in an era when we're all supposed to take the Hippocratic Oath.
It's gone.
That's cool too, for those who want to go that route.
Well, in the spirit of hangoutology, Doug and Murray are hanging out and they're heading home now in their separate ways. Then they're going to tune in with us when they get home tonight. Could be within the next few minutes.
Well, I just called up Doug to see if he can give me the Zoom link, and hopefully he'll come on too, if he can.
Okay.
Time.
How's the family, David?
I'll ask him. I've heard of that. That's the first time I've ever seen you acknowledge that you're actually working for ASCAP.
I wanted to ask you, as far as how are things with your kids, your children? It was such an experience in Massachusetts there that the fellow that you met, the young composer, he was so enamored by you and your son. He said that you both really made an impact.
Yeah, that was really, really fun. No, they're doing great. I'm going to see them all tomorrow night and Saturday night for the first and second night.
Yes.
So we're brushing up on our Ivrit, on our Hebrew.
Hebrew.
Ready to go. I'm going 11 o'clock with my ex-wife, and we're going to go to Alana's house to start cooking up everything. Actually, they'll do the cooking.
Yeah. Do you mind if you play again this video of yours?
What were those first two notes I heard? Boop, boop.
That's your.
Oh.
Do you mind if we play that video again?
Oh, that was terrific.
Okay, let's do that.
That was the first two notes of Blues for Monk, I think.
Okay.
Oh.
Here we go. Let me see.
Yeah.
When you've got Frank Sinatra and Pete Seeger in your press kit, Leonard Bernstein and Willie Nelson, when your resume includes Charles Mingus and the Pennsylvania Opera, Woody Fest and Hollywood, you are a different kind of cat. No one has made a more sustained and significant career out of being a different kind of cat than David Amram. He plays, by latest count, 35 instruments from dozens of countries, has written operas with Joseph Pack and cantatas with Langston Hughes, Broadway scores for Arthur.
Oh.
Damn
Turned into a silent film.
Sorry.
The Washington Post calls Amram one of the most versatile and skilled musicians America has ever produced. Wynton Marsalis calls him a godsend to those who believe in the power of music to change lives and inspire. He's won Lifetime Achievement Awards in jazz, film, and folk, written orchestral pieces based on Latin roots music and the songs of Woody Guthrie, served as State Department Goodwill Ambassador, and written film scores for hits like Manchurian Candidate and Splendor in the Grass. He's been composer in residence for the New York Philharmonic and Shakespeare in the Park, and there is a cheese named after him. He does have one steady gig. He cooks the corn every year at the Putnam County 4-H Fair. A different kind of cat. How do you describe a career like that? How does he describe it? I am a full-time student, he says, at the University of Hangoutology. By hanging out, only being in the presence and the world of those who know more than you do and allow you to share a little bit of that wisdom. So when people say I'm a scholar or pioneer of world music, I say I am an ethno-funkologist and explain that funk means the undocumented an indescribable essence of what each type of music says to your heart. Amram never set out to be eclectic. He simply loved it all. When there was something that touched me, he says, I tried to get closer to it. I never really thought about what I was doing until later. You look for the beauty part, along with the part that reflects the struggle and reaction to the horrors of life. He hears that same journey in the blues and Bach's B minor Mass, in Irish ballads, Jewish and Middle Eastern songs of prayer. A moment came when he was 24 that defined his career, though he didn't know it. While studying composition and arrangement on the GI Bill, Charles Mingus asked him to join his band. David told him he was going to college. You'll learn more with me, Mingus said. So David joined, but he kept going to college. He was learning in both places. Why choose? He would follow it all. As his reputation for eclecticism grew, offers came to write Broadway scores and operas, soundtracks, and orchestral pieces. He performed with the global artists igniting the world music movement, a revolution his eclecticism helped foment. He loves to tell the story of trying to convince conductor Eugene Ormandy about the beauty of Native American music. It's too simple, Ormandy complained over and over.
It all sounds the same. It's too simple. It's monotonous.
Amram played him an intricate Cheyenne war chant. Ormandy stared at him, then said,
It's too complicated.
For all Amram's star-studded history, he loves nothing better than jamming all night at folk festivals. He often hands out simple folk instruments that anyone can play because he loves the sound of music being expressed without the veneer of expertise. It's easier to hear the human heart inside. I don't jam because I feel like I'm doing anybody a favor, he says. It's being surrounded by the beauty of the moment. We're all here to share. We all love music. So let's get down to the get down. David wears a thick stack of trinket-laden necklaces, or to us they look like trinkets. To him, they're people. The big lion is students who performed his 12th night opera and gave it to him instead of a party because they had to study for exams. The Star of David is Israeli songwriter David Brosen. The white ivory, Pete Seeger. And the little French horn is Dizzy Gillespie when they performed a memorial for Thelonious Monk, and Dizzy said they'd reached that age when it's time to put something back in the pot. Of course, Amram's always given back to the music that gives him so much because he's always seen music as a family, the family of the human heart.
Thank you.
Asked what advice he'd give young people, he chisels his words carefully, measuring them like downbeats. When you're told by experts that there's no market for what you're doing, no demographic, that your music is passé, a waste of time, an unrealistic pursuit, an adolescent way of planning your life, accept all that wise counseling, then hang out with somebody else. That's the word from the Dean of the University of Hangoutology, David Amram. A different kind of cat.
Curious as to where you are now. How do you categorize yourself? Are you a jazz composer or? On that, I've been around a great deal of the world. I heard a lot of kinds of music ever since I was a kid. And I'd say now, where I'm at is the very beginning.
So,
David, are you still at the very beginning?
Pardon?
Are you still at the very beginning?
No, no, I couldn't hear any of the music part, but the guys talking was terrific. But I actually do write to play music too. But somehow on my computer, I guess people can see that online and you can hear it great. But most important, at this point in my life, I'm just hoping I can encourage other people to tell their story, as Lester Young told every saxophone player who tried to play the blowing up of the world and the bombing of Hiroshima, and giant steps 4 times faster than John Coltrane's Olympic record. That was most impressive. Now I'd like to hear your story and all the things that I've learned and done. And since I know Nemeth, that's 36 years, I always found it's more interesting when you're out and about to see what other people are doing and to encourage them. And that also helps you to become a better musician and a better person. And then lots of times, those people that you find are 5 times better than you'll ever be. But if you're in the idea, if you have the idea of sharing that with others, instead of becoming pathologically jealous, you say, man, I got to hang out with them and see if I can pick up what they know. And conversely, if there's someone that's interested in what you know, you try to have that same spirit that you would as a student. So being a student and a teacher, or a student and a sharer, are the same thing. And they're both really important. And you all know that anyway. And probably most of our millions of listeners, or at least 20 or 30, feel that way too. But I think it's always good to hear that over and over, because every time I turn on TV to get enlightened, if I'm not seeing some hideous world tragedy, it's mostly about selfishness and egomania. And that's okay, I guess. But it's kind of nice to know that there's another way of looking at things. And most of the world, if you're lucky enough to travel around, places where you feel good, where other people somehow are feeling good, they practice that as a given. They don't need a Mr. Rod Shirley type speech to tell people that you got to be cool, or to obey the golden rule, or to think of other people, or act like a human, or fake it. If you don't feel you can act like a human, try it out anyway. It'll feel good. And if you do that, you'll have a better time. You'll have more fun. You'll meet nicer people. And if you're trying to be creative yourself, you won't get writer's block, because you won't be that concerned about what things aren't, but rather what is and what can be. So I just wanted to pass that on for the 4,000th time, because I think it's important for people to hear that. And it's important for me to remember to try to do that myself. That's the biggest struggle.
I think it's basic
Wisdom of old age, and a beautiful Easter, Pesach, and whatever else you're celebrating. And if you don't celebrate either of those, have a good meal tomorrow night and Saturday anyway.
It's David, you're talking about basic curiosity. We are curious. We are curious people. We want to hear other stories and other what other people have to say, because I'm really curious about the world, as you are.
Oh, sure.
That's our curiosity is driving us, actually.
I often tell people, I'm sorry you can't see me, and I don't know why. This is the second time in a week that my visual doesn't show up.
You are like a ghost now.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I often tell people that you see people, accountants and office workers, they die at 68 years old after they retire at 65. But those people that live much longer, it's because they wake up every morning curious.
Yeah.
They have a curiosity of who they're going to meet that day, what they're going to do. And all of a sudden the adrenaline starts going and they get active. And that's, to me, that's the sole reason why people live longer.
Yeah. They have a reason to live longer. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I spoke to Arturo O'Farrell, unbelievable musician, composer, ambassador of music, teacher, tremendous player, soloist, and fun to play with, my Lord. And David, he said, man, I'm in my 60s. You're 91. What advice have you got? about getting older. I said, most important, keep inhaling and and then so I said, well, how do you get that energy at 91? I said, well, desperation is very stimulating.
Yeah.
So you kind of use, as Customato used to tell the boxers, if you have fear, use it, use that fear. And I think if you're doing something that's kind of uncertain, to put it mildly, where you're living from week to week, or if that, or things get slow, or the desperation of the situation can be valuable to give you that extra energy.
When
And-
you were a boxer, did you ever face an opponent and just looking at him scared you to death?
All the time.
Of course.
All the time.
I
However,
tried not to let them know how frightened I was. Then at my wedding, Jose Torres, who'd been the light heavyweight champion, came with Pete Hamill to my wedding a long time ago,
Wow.
and I played piano for him. And he said, no, he said, I was scared when I was boxing, always. And he said, it was only after I worked with Customato that I realized that I could use that fear. And sometimes when you're playing, or you start to worry, or you're recording, I used to say, oh my God, man, I can't get in that zone. This is being recorded. What if I hit a clinker? Sometimes you're concentrating so hard. And then when you listen back, you say, whoa, it sounded, especially a while later, you say, boy, not bad. Or you can hear something where you're playing live and you don't quite do it, or you're conducting an orchestra and you hear little things you wish were better. But there's something about that live experience that you just can't beat. So then you try to replicate that live experience if you're writing something down on paper or if you're playing. They're both related. Playing what's written on paper by someone else, writing something on paper yourself, listening, improvising when you don't know what's happening. All of those things are special moments. They're all different disciplines, but they all relate to each other. And if you can somehow stay in that world of beauty, then you're doing the right thing, because that's where you are anyway, if you choose to search for it.
beauty brings the truth, and truth brings the wisdom. Does it ever happen to you, David, that you don't know what is the next chord that you're going to play in 2 seconds? Because it happens to me.
Often.
Yeah.
And once in a while,
That's where it's magic.
you can cough. But if you're playing, sometimes you leave the thing out because you just don't know what to do. And then you listen back and say, boy, wasn't that tasteful? You didn't overplay. And actually, you're trying to figure out. But the greatest thing is when you hear people like Thelonious Monk or Miles, they're actually leaving some space and you can almost feel them thinking. But you talk about that, Murray, because you already, we can see you, and I want to know what you have to say.
Oh, it's, I've been woodshedding Monk the last couple of weeks, and it's just his construction of melodies is so complete and surprising, because he comes up with stuff that nobody comes up with. And it's, you say, I don't think I would ever thought of that, but there's a certain kind of Monk logic that just is magical.
Monkologic. It's a new word, monkologic.
What is it?
It's a new word, monkologic.
Monk logic.
Yeah.
I like that. Yeah.
Well, it's funny because people used to say he can't play the piano and he's playing the wrong notes and he's weird and this and that. And now his 100th came rolling around, they're comparing him to Bach. And he loved Bach. And he saw things straight ahead. When I tried to learn off minor before I met him back in 1954, 55, when I was in Paris, people showed me that. I fell in love with it, but then I could never, it just didn't sound the way he played. When I finally met him, when I was playing with Mingus, he came up to my place and I said, you know, Monk, we all love that tune. But when I ask other people, they show me stuff, how they play it. And, but it never seems to be completely right the way you play it. He said, well, you should have asked me. And,
he's got a spark.
and he wrote the whole thing out, every single possible thing you could imagine in his own way, but every single note he had constructed. And when Paul Overton, a wonderful composer and arranger and
Oh yeah.
teacher, when he got together with Monk, Monk just sat there, slow motion, blang, and held that chord out 15 times till Paul could write down what the notes were. And when he made those arrangements that Don Sickler gave me for the orchestra part, I said, I want to see the parts that the guys played from, and then I'll know that's what Monk approved of. Then when it comes for variations, I can do it. Then I can be creative. But if it's Monk's melody, I would want to do it the way Monk wanted it to be done, just as you would do with Bach, Mozart, Shakespeare, or anybody else. You try to not to give it the Hollywood plastic surgery, facelift, improvement, steroids, but you try to put the way the person who created it. It's not
I
that
think it all comes back to Monk logic.
right.
Logic.
And that's a beauty and telling his story. Yeah, it was just, I know exactly what you mean. I play some of those things and say, man, that's miraculous. And in 1955, there weren't that many people still that realized what a giant he was and how much he came out of Ellington and so many other great people, and acknowledged that, and how much people like Ellington loved
But
music.
the voice leading is, something that, just can't be underestimated, what he does, with sixths and, making melodies of sixths and resolving stuff that just like, you want to hear what's coming next, all the time.
Well, Beethoven was the same thing. In fact, we were supposed to do something in Washington, that little section where they show when I was playing with Dizzy. The Beethoven Society sponsored that wonderful Monk concert with Wynton when he was a very young guy, and Wynton's brother, who's such a terrific tenor player, and Ellis, Ellis Senior, the father, played, and all of these great. I was lucky enough to play with Percy Heath and Walter Davis Jr. and Roy Haynes. My Lord, they were so good. People said, you sounded pretty good. I said, man, if I just stood there and done nothing, it would have been great, because those guys were so fabulous. The whole concert was, Jerry Mulligan was there, Ursula Duzadek. They had like amazing musicians. And Monk's music was just so beautiful. And Mrs. Fisher, who was from the old country, one of the old, I think from Germany or Austria, was the president of the Monk Society. So she was on a local jazz radio show, and they said, well, Mrs. Fisher is wonderful. You're the head of the Beethoven Society, and you're an honorary member of the Jazz Society, and you appreciate Monk's music to the extent that you would like someday to have Amram play with Dizzy and everything, and also conduct Beethoven's Fifth Symphony. That was the idea we had originally, but they couldn't afford that outrageous expense of getting a whole symphony orchestra to come. But they acknowledged he was kind of the Beethoven of music of our time. And they said, well, how does it feel coming from Europe and the classical world to be with everybody that's playing Monk? And she said, I love to hang out with the cats. That was her comment. But he was explaining that to her. That was as big a thrill to be with the aristocracy of jazz as it was to be with the aristocracy of classical music. That they were both down home, never knew what was coming next, original, made you feel something, and were sophisticated and aristocratic in the truest sense. And that was a heck of a thing to hear someone in her position say what a lot of us felt. But if any of us had said that when we did that back in 1987, they would have just thought we were a bunch of big blowhards. They to listen to it. And the people at the station cracked up because all those divisions of the outstanding conservatory training and the street, if it was judged on the basis of the quality and the musicality, then both are different and both are great. And our hope is that the new generation can realize we don't have to deal with labels, which are geniuses at, rather what's inside the package, not the advertising, not the labeling, but what it is. That's where the old expression comes from. When you can't define something, people say, well, how would you define that? You say, what it is.
What it is, what it is. It's a funky and low down feeling. Make you move from side to side.
So she was also hangoutologist, obviously. Yeah. So let's find each time somebody like moncologist is one word that we coined today. Moncologist.
Find a new word. Yeah.
Let's see how many oncologists we can find.
Great.
Yeah.
That show's great. Yeah.
Also, I would love to play this video of yours, David, maybe each time, for people who just randomly come and see, because this video is so well done, and it describes you in a way that a lot of people don't know, but I would love them to know about you. So let's play each time the video in the beginning. If you don't have nothing against it.
No, the person who made it, that was for the Folk Alliance. And I was amazed how the guy put all that stuff together.
Excellent.
And he passed away this past year.
Oh,
Scott Allery, but he made a beautiful little like 7-minute documentary. It was wonderful.
That's what we watched this evening, Doug.
Yes, yes.
Yep. So yeah,
But it was sad that he passed away this past year.
Well, I think we can hope, that maybe that kind of thing could be done for a lot of musicians, where they weren't just trying to sell stuff, but they're trying to paint a picture of what anybody can be if they work hard and expose themselves to the beauty that surrounds us. It's already here. So we're celebrating that gift, whatever that great creator, he, she, they, whatever, however you believe that it is done. It's there before we came here. It's here. Music, all of those things are a reflection of those wonderful gifts of that beauty that surrounds us. And it's there if you pay attention, and you can see it every day. And I think that, in a sense, the video reflects the fact I was just a lucky guy to be able to be involved in those things, but other people can also do something. We don't just have to sit and wait until we're told this is hip for the next 15 minutes, so you better buy it, and then prepare to throw it away, because the great American philosophy, there's a sucker born every minute, and nobody knows the difference. And those, unfortunately, that's one way to make a fast killing, but that's not the basis of anything worthwhile. And what is worthwhile surrounds us if we pay attention. And part of our gig in music is to make people feel comfortable enough so that they not only will pay attention, but it'll spark some music, some feeling in them to do something, not to necessarily be a musician, to be anything.
So it's not just luck, David. It's a willingness. It's a willingness also. You were willing to be there, to participate.
And I know I saw that wonderful video that Sputnik made of Murray playing in some big crowded restaurant. And you can see the people there, they were saying, whoa, man, check that guy out. And it wasn't a big concert. Someone said, here's the world's greatest, richest, most famous, powerful person. And he's going to play the piano in this dump for you schmucks.
It's the only Korean restaurant that has a piano.
It is.
You know.
I love that. Was like the real deal. That's what music does to entrance people. Say, whoa, check that out.
The main chef, his daughter, was studying piano. So they bought a piano and they, she takes her lessons there, and so we got into a groove.
We should all go to that Korean restaurant sometime.
Yeah, David, that would be amazing.
Do you have that video? Can you play it right now?
I don't know where it is.
Is it on YouTube?
Murray, would you have it, Murray? I don't know if I have it so handy, but that would be.
No, I don't.
Is it on YouTube?
Yeah, it may be on YouTube.
I don't know.
What is the title?
No, I think it was just on Michael's cell
Yeah,
phone.
let's say Nenad, I'll take a look, but perhaps the next session.
Next session.
Your way, and maybe we
You can look now. Just tell
I'll
me.
try. I'll try.
Let me. What is the title of the video?
It was Murray playing
Playing the A Train.
and
I don't know.
singing and playing.
With some additional lyrics that I wrote. So,
They were great lyrics.
thank you.
Another nice thing was when they showed Nemeth online and he was singing with the symphony, and then they flashed over to the violinists. And instead of looking like saying, I should have been a brain surgeon instead of playing this, they were actually enjoying it and listening and smiling. Now, that's a great thing, too, because the idea that if it's good music, you have to suffer to play it, or you have to suffer. You suffer enough trying to get a chance to play it. That's enough suffering already. When you come to play, that's supposed to be showing people, hey, man, we know you're all suffering too, but this is something else besides being bummed out. And seeing the orchestra having a good time, you very seldom see that. Very often, those fantastic players don't have a good time because if they smile, they get fired, or that they have a good time, they might feel they're not really enjoying the music. But the reality is, even the saddest piece makes you feel something and you feel like you're alive. And that's very important thing to have in our lives and in our culture. And unfortunately, with all due respect to our mercantile system, buying drugs doesn't give you that. The people who are selling it are the only ones who benefit because they get some money. So presumably they could go out and do something else hipper than immersing themselves in some chemicals which are designed to make you want more chemicals, but not make you feel that good. And music is the best thing of all because basically it's free and it's helpful. And if you're lucky enough to play it, you could feel tired, bummed out, ready to give up. And after a night of good music making or good music listening, you feel energized. It's amazing. It's medicinal.
And I use the phrase smiling for no apparent reason. And that's what happens with music.
Yeah.
It's
right?
medicinal, what David says. It's medicinal. That's a good way of putting it. Yeah. Let me just see if.
Can I ask you a question? because you're a heck of a musician and composer, but could you,
Oh,
for the listeners, including all of us, tell us more about what you do with ping pong? Because I don't think anybody, certainly, I don't think any of us ever dreamed of that until we heard you talk about it.
Well, we are using ping pong as a therapy for people with Parkinson. And actually, we have a very good news. USATT, which is United States Table Tennis Association, they accepted us as a category in the regular championships. That's happening in July. So
Great.
first time in any sport
bravo.
that happened. So that's very good news. So I found something, by the way, of Murray. If you don't mind, let me try to see if I can play it. If that's what it is. I don't know. That's not what
Tales of the City.
Oh, yes, that's a classic.
That's my CD.
On a dark day after, nothing to do but sleep. But if you wake before I do, pray my soul to keep. It's a dark day afternoon, better not move too quick. 'Cause when the fog gets hot, you don't do no tricks. On a day like this, you don't chase no sneaks. It's a dark day afternoon. What a perfect afternoon. Call your friends over and lazy. Start on the porch, just about noon. Hope that evening don't come too soon on this dark day afternoon. Any dark day afternoon, you got made me shake. You dream about bones, biscuits and cakes. That's dog's life, for goodness sake, on a dark day afternoon. On a dark day afternoon, nothing to do but sleep. Start on the porch, just about noon. Hope that evening don't come too soon on this dark day afternoon. It's a dark day afternoon. On a dark day afternoon. So hot.
You see, what you first do is you get yourself a bone.
Anyway, that was
That's my dedication to dogs, and that's John Sebastian playing the harmonica
Ah,
all the way through. And
Well, the singer sounded like John also.
yeah, that's from NRBQ.
And the
That's
feel of the song.
Joey Spampanato is the lead singer of NRBQ, and he just nailed it.
And the feel of the song was like Welcome Back, Kotter.
Yeah.
Same
Oh yeah.
feeling.
That's true. I will cop to that.
Murray recorded Welcome Back, Kotter, by the way, the original.
that's right.
That was I'm the first thing on piano, and the last thing that you hear, and I sing the bass note, and that ends it. Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back.
Nenad, are you familiar with that program? It may have been before your arrival. Welcome,
No.
Carter.
no. I'm not.
It was a big hit in the United States for how many years?
Oh yeah.
it made John Travolta famous.
Yeah.
He was like a teenager when he started in the show.
And what is the show called?
Welcome back,
Welcome
Kotter.
back, Cotter.
Kotter.
Yeah, no, I don't.
It was a typical high school family.
With a kooky teacher.
Yeah.
Sitcom, right? A sitcom series.
Yeah. Who was the teacher? What was his name? Gabe Kaplan,
Gabe Kaplan.
who from that show, he became a gambler. he,
True to life gambler?
Yeah, he's very good.
He quit acting.
Quit acting, went to Las Vegas, and I mean, I think he actually does pretty well doing that, which is strange. But that was a treat.
Here we go.
Oh, this is
Sounding familiar.
that's,
Do we have the video, Nina? Oh, there's
There,
Mary.
there, there,
if you go,
David.
if you go to the beginning, you can hear some alternate lyrics to Take the A Train.
Yeah.
Those are my lyrics.
Yeah, Doug. Oh, hold the drink.
So anyway, here we go.
That makes a good impression.
There you go.
Yeah. Nice, Murray.
Oh, thank you.
I mean, being there present, live music, the whole ambience, the people there, their reaction, it's just what music is all about. We can't capture it fully from the recording,
Yeah.
And your singing in Korean was very impressive.
Doug thought it was Korean, right?
And when do we all go up to Mount Kisco and play ping pong again?
Yeah.
Well, every Wednesday.
Every Wednesday?
Yeah, every Wednesday, 7:30 p.m.
Did you say the documentary that was filming yesterday, that was there at that location?
Yeah, it was at that location, yes.
Yeah.
I had Facebook doing a documentary.
I've been, in honor of your program there, I've been carrying a ping pong ball around everywhere, every day.
It's a symbol. Because David, it's hard to wear a ping pong ball. Where you have to give David, or actually it should come from Nenad, a ping pong ball.
It's hard to hit a ping pong ball and get it over the net if you're playing with a good player, but fun.
Let alone hang it on your neck.
We have to remember when President Nixon was doing his job, he played the piano with Duke Ellington, and that wasn't memorable. But when he sent the ping pong players to China, somehow that would open the door for the people in China and the U.S. government to speak to each other again, rather than hating each other or deciding how they were going to wipe each other out off the face of the map. And they called it ping pong diplomacy. And when Dizzy Gillespie was sent to Cuba in 1977, and they said, well, President Carter must be some kind of underground communist pinko America hating nutcase. People said, wait a minute, Mr. Conservative, Richard Nixon sent those ping pong players over to China, and look what happened. We didn't have that good of luck with Cuba as the ping pong players, but at least the door was somewhat opened, and a lot were able to go there and see the, and a lot of the Cuban people, musicians who wanted to make more than $20 a month, found a way to come over and escape and have a freer life. And a lot of athletes came, and a lot of people at least realized that there was another place 90 miles from us that had a lot to offer. And hopefully in the next few months or years or centuries, whatever it's going to take, we'll have relations with them that are quasi-normal, as we do with almost every other country in the world. And people remember it was the jazz artists who went over there when we went for 36 hours that started it. And the same thing is true with those ping pong players. I don't know who they were, but they opened up the door for the relations, some of which have been very positive, that we've had with China. And I think it just shows the power of music or playing ping pong, which is an art and an effort, and it requires more than one person to be doing things together for a higher purpose. And that's a terrific thing. And I remember you've done that with the people who have Parkinson's, so that we can also show the world not only that people who have Parkinson's can feel worthy and have something that they can do to heal themselves to an extent and feel good about being part of the world, but for the rest of the world to look and not just say these are all people who should just lie down or disappear or become like Ralph Ellison's Invisible Man, where we just pretend that they're not there. That's a really good thing and a wonderful thing that you're doing, not just for people with Parkinson's, but for everybody.
Correct.
So you can think about one another. That's a heck of a thing. And it's fun to watch. And amazing how good some of those ping pong players are, including yourself.
I should mention that there's a man who worked for me for 31 years who David and Michael knew, Martin. And Martin in the 1950s toured the UK with the Harlem Globetrotters. And he gave a ping pong show in the halftime of the basketball game at each game. And he was a professional ping pong player performing with the Harlem Globetrotters.
Doug, you feel there's no footage out there? We'll have documentation from that?
I don't think so.
You've never seen any video? Yeah.
No.
Okay. Yeah.
Did you ever do a cert?
No.
Maybe it's worth trying.
This is sorry about that, but I wanted to show you she was the champion of the US. She just put on Instagram today this video with me playing table tennis.
Oh.
Can we see it?
Yeah, let's see it.
Here we go.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Go, man, go.
Yes.
Wonderful.
That is so cool.
Nenad, did you play ping pong before you realized it was therapeutic for Parkinson's?
Yeah.
Not really. No, not really.
So you only started in the last several years.
Yes, last 5 years,
Great.
but not on a regular basis.
I hear tango dancing is also therapeutic for
Yes,
Parkinson's.
yes,
Have
it
you
is.
done any dancing?
Yes, I've done dancing as well, dancing and boxing and all of this, but
Boxing.
boxing, yes, as well.
Mhm.
But thing is that ping pong is the most fun, and
Yeah.
it's how many times can you punch the bag?
Unless you're very angry.
Well, even if you're angry, like how many times can you do it? So it is getting boring punching the bag for me.
And
Right.
well, tango, if the woman is beautiful, can be interesting.
Then that's never boring.
But ping pong's, you got to have rhythm.
Yeah, that's dancing with the ball.
Yeah, that's it.
It's a tango with the ping pong ball.
I got it right here.
Yeah,
Juggling is probably something.
I got one, I got two,
Oh,
I got three, I got four, I got five here.
All right.
So there was an American baseball player named Johnny Bench.
oh yeah.
He could hold 9 baseballs in one hand.
Wow.
Oh,
He had a very big hand.
Yeah. Here we go. This is 5 in one hand.
All right.
Maybe I should try to make a record.
Yeah. Right. Let's write a song.
an anthem.
This is 5. I think I can put another two.
Right.
Yeah.
So the holidays are coming up for many. David, are you going to Ridgewood tomorrow?
David took a nap.
He's taking a nap.
Huh.
Well,
That's
he's-
hangoutology. That means it's perfectly.
What's in Ridgewood, Michael?
Just wondering, David, for the holidays, David mentioned that he's going to be with his kids.
Or is that the section of Queens where
Yeah,
she lives?
yeah. If he's going to that daughter, right? Do you know his plans?
I knew he was going for Passover.
Passover.
Maybe it already happened. Wasn't it 2 days ago?
No, it's tomorrow night's the Seder. I'm invited. I'm gonna attend. Meaning there are, tomorrow evening is I guess the first evening for Passover.
So I was asking Murray, a Jewish historian, how many days did they celebrate Passover? And because somehow I thought it was more than 1 day. But
Right.
Murray wasn't sure.
I'm not so savvy in that area.
And the high holidays. Huh?
But looking at David now, one might think he was up all last night at the party.
Oh yeah, recently all the travels, Florida. He was telling us about his trip to Florida. Doug Murray, do you remember we were sitting down?
Look at the juggler here.
Do you remember that evening on was it McDougal Street when those musicians were sitting next to us? We got into a conversation. It was after there was that performance that part of the Greenwich Village Festival, Village Trip.
With Abraham Lincoln.
Yeah. Well, remember, wasn't there somebody who happened to be from Florida and he said, "Oh, I'm going to see David in a few months."
Yeah. What are you juggling, Nenad?
These are specially bags made for me in Queens.
Queens.
Rice.
They're like bean bags or rice
Yeah,
bags?
bean bags, yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Let me just try to.
Oh, there you go. I thought of juggling as another pursuit.
Better than I am.
There we go.
Very good.
I need to.
Doug, we're on the spot. I mean, everybody seems to come up with something, you know?
Yeah.
Murray's
Well,
playing.
You missed everything I was doing tonight.
I know, right? That's why you have the white screen there. Oh, there goes Murray.
I'm just keeping the upbeats.
Nenad, when did you start juggling?
I started juggling like maybe 3 years ago,
Good.
and now I'm
Have
trying.
I've seen a guy juggle and he would have one bowling ball and he'd have a candelabra,
Please.
all different things that he's throwing up in the air.
And the chainsaw.
Yes.
I'm working chainsaw.
I've seen that. Yes.
Why?
So Murray, you're not at your piano now?
No, I'm at my computer.
Ah, okay.
So the piano is in the other apartment.
Ah, okay.
So shall we conclude?
I like to think that David is meditating right now on world peace and such.
No, I think we should conclude and see how many hours it'll take before he'll call us back.
Okay.
But seriously, we need peace in the world. They're not, one evening, you have to explain your theory, or you have a recipe in the largest sense.
There is a recipe. Yes. You just type wp1h.org and you will find it.
WPH.org.
WP, World Peace, and then one as number 1H, our.org. WP1H.org.
1H.
And you can listen to it if you want. It's on the bottom of the page. Or,
I hope that maybe by the next time I will have a little demo of a song that I've been working on called The Sisters and Brothers We Adopt from the War.
Murray, what was that from the war? What?
I've been writing, I wrote a song called Sisters and Brothers We Adopt from the War.
Oh, that's the title.
Yeah.
Sisters and Brothers We Adopt from the War.
Yeah. Years ago, Richie Havens actually sang it on the Johnny Carson show. So I'm trying to make a new demo of it because
your song.
Yes, it seems appropriate. When the war in Germany took place, when the German prisoners came back with the American soldiers, everybody looked wasted, and I just thought it doesn't matter where you're from, you can be vulnerable, and we're all together and we're all equal. If I can just read just one paragraph, I would appreciate it. Inspired by the siege of Leningrad, when they brought back the prisoners and the army people, they all looked just beat. They all looked like one group of people. So the first paragraph I'll just read. Today I saw a movie about a time when the world was fighting, and I can't seem to stop from crying, and I can't get beyond all the dying. But the feeling between those souls who survived, it warmed my heart like two birds in the sky, made me understand something I'd never known before. All the sisters and brothers we adopt from the war.
Good, good.
So there will be more of that song.
Oh, wonderful.
Siege of Leningrad is
Leningrad.
in Stalingrad
Yeah.
and Mariupol.
Did I show you the new version of Can We Go Higher or no? For Ukraine.
No.
Right, because I'm thinking of you, Nenad, with from the 90s. There's
I'll show you I'll show you the new version. Yeah.
Okay.
Just a moment. Just a moment. Let me just see where I can find it.
But it's a special time that we need to put all our energy towards the thought of peace and love.
Yeah. There you go.
All over that.
This
And
video may be inappropriate for some users. So let me just see.
It's a fitting way to conclude.
Video may be inappropriate for some.
For some users, why would that be?
Because of you cannot show the war.
Oh, right. That's illegal. You could wage it, but you can't show it. Bach is back.
A thousand candles amazing one by one.
Her body count each time I raise my eyes to the sun.
No rain of understanding falls. Fill the world. Centuries and days have gone with the ringing of a bell. Here we are. Here we are. Each troop of angels, left and right, watch and wait.
Will it happen around the world?
That's Richie Davis.
tonight?
Yeah, that's Richie.
A simple twist of fate.
As long as people do, woman and man.
Let us shout out peace again in every land. Here we are. Here we are.
Peace is not an absence of war. It is a virtue, a state of mind, a disposition for benevolence, confidence, and justice.
Imagine all the people living life in peace. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you'll join us and the world will live as one. John Lennon.
Beautiful, Nenad.
Yeah, that was beautiful, Nenad.
Was that John Malkovich speaking right before you at the end?
Yes.
Yep.
John Malkovich, yes. Yes. Hello, David.
Terrific.
And it was nice to hear Richie's voice too.
Yeah.
Murray worked with Richie Havens. You didn't know Doug at that time? That was not a.
No, I
Was
no.
that I worked with
You-
Richie from 76 to 91, and you started playing with him when?
It's a little bit foggy, but we went to Baden-Baden. There was a TV station called Oned Filter, and we did a big broadcast from there. And it was
80s, 90s? You think it was in the 80s or the 90s?
yeah, it was in the 80s, definitely
80s.
in the 80s. And Oned Filter was a TV station.
On a filter, probably without a filter.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And is
And,
it on YouTube?
The drummer Jack Scarangella has a copy of it, and he's been passing it around. And what happened was that the very first concert that we did, Richie got up there and he started talking about how it was to play in Woodstock. And he said, you know, when we went out to play in Woodstock, and the whole crowd, which was several hundred people there, they said, Woodstock.
Like
It
a
was-
magical place.
Woods
Yeah,
with
it was that.
with a heavy V on the Woodstock.
Off Woodstock.
And it was magic. I'll see if I can get some footage for the next time.
It may be on YouTube.
Yeah.
If
I'll
you
check
remember
with
the letters of the network.
Yeah.
Or you can just go online and say Baden-Baden television. It will tell you, you know, VHR or something.
Yeah. Well, Jack Scarangella, who is the drummer with us when we toured Germany, has a good beat on it. So I'll check with him.
He's a drummer, has a good beat on it.
Yeah.
Typical drummer.
What you want is Woodstock.
Yes.
What you want is Woodstock.
Yes.
Woodstock.
Verily so.
Yeah, I got when I arrived, I went to the school called Cambridge School, and they one guy was a substitute for our teacher, but he taught me a lesson first week as I arrived. He said, Eastern European, they say vote. It's not the, it's a word. It's a victory. Your teeth touches the lower lip. It's a victory. Victory. But we. And he taught me that immediately, first week. And I felt very grateful for that.
That's great.
Because most of the people from Croatia, they say they speak. What do you want?
What do you want?
What do you want? Water.
Friends, I'm gonna have to go. I have some work yet to do this evening.
Okay.
But it's
Also
great to see you.
great to see you. We'll continue the
And
hangoutology.
next time we see you, we'll be at the ping pong,
Well,
at the ping pong place.
come anytime. It's Wednesday at 7:30.
Okay, we gotta work on that.
Cool.
Okay. All the
So is
best.
this the end of the session then, not for
Yes,
tonight?
yes, yes.
Okay.
Happy
Wonderful to see
Passover,
everybody.
everyone.
Another month. See you all again.
Yes.
Good health.
All the
Bye-bye.
best. Bye.
Yeah,
Bye.
let's send our thoughts and energies to
Yes, thoughts and energies.
the world over there.
World peace, and especially in a particular place right now
Yes.
Yeah.
that's being threatened.
Good night.
Good night.